Sulama, umani salama, ayo, familia, umani sulama, umani salama, umani salama, ayo, ayo.
Hamjambo na karibu kwenye darasa letu la Kiswahili. I do trust that you all doing well. I just said hello and welcome to this particular episode of the Saturday Swahili classes on the Black Fire Network. Each and every Saturday we come together just to get to learn a little bit of some Swahili, being one of the most easiest African languages to be able to learn. And it's also a Bantu language spoken by over 150 million people on the African continent. And we do believe that if we were able to have an interest in the language, and many people did have an interest in the language, then perhaps it would actually be even be more prolific and spread at a much faster rate, enabling people to be much more connected with one particular language. In some cases, one of the hindrances of people trying to connect and people trying to unite is the barrier of language, because you cannot be able to communicate if you not have a common language. And therefore, I do believe it's very, very important that each and every weekend you join us right here on the Black Fire Network Swahili classes for the weekend, and just get to learn a little bit of the Swahili. There are so many other languages on the African continent, and they are over 1,500. And perhaps you might wonder, why have we picked on Swahili? Swahili, like I said, is relatively easy to learn, and also it has about 150 million speakers on the continent. And therefore, that also makes it, widespread and a language that you can be able to adopt as well and use it. For some countries, it's official language. For other countries, it's the national language. In a country like Tanzania, it's the official and the national language. In a country like Kenya, it's actually the national language and not the official language. And of course, it also goes in other different countries, such as Uganda, where it's widely spoken, and parts of Zambia. And also Rwanda. You will find Rwanda Swahili speakers in Rwanda and Burundi, all that part of the eastern and southern part of the continent. There is a lot of Swahili speakers, and I do believe if you do have any business that you would like to conduct in those particular areas, then it would be much more better for you to be able to do it in Swahili. If you ever get the opportunity to tour, and maybe perhaps you are in Tanzania, like we aspire to go, we are aspiring to tour this particular country, Tanzania, next month from the 12th. And in that particular country, if you're conducting any business, be it official or non-official business, the mode of communication right there is the language of communication right there is Swahili. If you're speaking maybe to the policemen or the policewomen, or maybe you're speaking to the teachers or the judges, or the women selling their vegetables out there, you will be doing that particular one in Swahili, and it makes things much more easier for anyone being a visitor. Well, also for anyone being also being a local in that sorry or anyone being a local in that particular country. Last week we were here and we were learning a little bit of Swahili. So today we purpose to continue from where we left last week. We were learning a little bit about the verbs. But before we get into the verbs, I just wanted to go back a little bit and I just touch on some few important words in Swahili that are very, very, very common. Regardless of whether you're talking to, whatever different context, you will find these particular words actually are popping up in any conversation. Because in a conversation, of course, you're communicating with people, and there is a way you have to refer to these particular people. And therefore, it's very, very important for you to understand how you refer to these individuals. For example, we have learned time and again that mother actually translates into mom. Mama. Mother actually translates into mama. And of course, many of us do already know this, whether you are in Brazil or whether you are in the USA or whether you are in Africa. Mama is a word that is used very, very widely. I am not certain whether it's the original, its origin is Swahili, or what culture has where did this particular name originate from. But we also do have father or dad. We refer to him in Swahili as Baba, B-A. When we're talking about the Swahili language, these are two syllables, ba and ba. For the other one, mama, it's ma and ma, which becomes mama. For father, you really just say Baba. If you're talking about your father, let's say my father or my mother, you normally would say, put the phrase together and say, my father will be Baba Yangu, Baba Yangu. We already learned last week that Yangu simply means mine, all. It shows association, ownership, all, relationship, ownership, or relationship. When talking about my mother, if you would say my mother, I would actually say Mama Yangu, Mama Yangu. And what if you were to talk about your mother, you would say Mama Yako, Mama Yako, Yako, Yako. That it would be Mama Yako. And of course, at the same way with father. If you're talking about your father, you would really just say Baba Yako, Baba Yako. And of course, it's also important to realize about how you interpret the child or the baby. You normally would say mtoto, mtoto, mtoto. And mtoto means child, or could also mean baby. But if you're thinking about my baby, my child, you would say mtoto wangu, mtoto wangu, wangu, BNWANGU, WANGU, mtoto wangu. If you're talking about your child, maybe it's me talking about your child, I would say mtoto wako, mtoto wako. And of course, it's also important to have learned already that we do say brother as kaka or ndugu. If someone says amani ndugu, they mean peace brother. They can also say amani kaka to mean peace brother, because kaka really is in the interpretation for brother. And kaka is much more so in the sense of the biological brother. But for brethren or for ndugu, you would really be, that is not your biological brother. And that is how you really get to say hello to them. You would actually say hujambo kaka or hujambo ndugu, or you can also say hujambo, ama you can also say habari yako ndugu. Habari yako ndugu would be how are you brother, how are you brother. Let me try to pull this down so that you can also see how you use these particular words, which are very, very common. And I was saying, when you're doing your communication, you're doing it and you're saying hello to people. And like you said, ndugu is for brother. Ndugu is for brother. And you would actually also say hujambo ndugu. You can say hujambo ndugu, which is a hello brother. Hello brother. You can also say habari yako ndugu. You can say habari yako ndugu. Habari yako ndugu, which is how are you brother, how are you brother. That is simply how you would say habari yako ndugu would be how are you brother. And if you say hujambo ndugu, that would be hello brother, hello brother. And we also do have, of course, other members of the family. And I said it's very, very important to get to this to understand these members of the family, because when you're doing a conversation, you have to be communicating with someone, and you need to know how to address them. And like I said earlier, if it's your mom or someone who is elderly, you would actually say mama. Or if it's someone who is elderly and it's a man, you'd actually say baba or mzee. You'd actually say baba or mzee. Mzee is also very correct. It's a respectful word to refer to an elderly man in the community, you can call them mzee. Maybe perhaps they're in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. You can go ahead and call them mzee. For the sister, we already know that sister is dada, and therefore, if you're saying hello to a sister, you'd say hujambo dada, hujambo dada, hujambo dada, da, which is da da. Both syllables repeated, da and da. And you could also say habari yako dada. Habari yako dada simply means how are you, sister? How are you, sister? And if someone says habari yako dada, you say salama. If you're a lady and someone says habari yako dada, you say salama. And you can also continue. Salama means well. You're responding and saying salama. You would respond and say salama. And you can also emphasize and say nashukuru. You can say, someone says habari yako dada, habari yako dada, which is hello, sister. Hello, how are you, sister? How are you, sister? You can respond and say salama. You can respond and say salama. And salama, of course, it means well. Salama means well. You really say salama. Salama, which means well. Or you can also emphasize and say salama kabisa. Salama kabisa. Salama is an emphasis. Kabisa is an emphasis. Or you can also say salama sana. Kabisa is an emphasis, or you can also say sana. So therefore, if you say salama kabisa is very well. Means very well. Very well. Or you can also say salama sana. Sana is also another word which is used to emphasize, and it means a lot, a lot. That is how you would really say if you are greeted by someone on your way, and they did tell you habari yako dada, you can tell them salama, or you can also tell them salama kabisa, which is very well, or I'm very okay. And of course, not all the time will someone be very okay. Maybe sometimes they're not doing well. You can say sipo salama, or sipo salama, or you can say mbaya. If someone says habari yako and it's not good, you can say mbaya, because mbaya simply means not well. And we also do have the uncle. After the sister, we already also have the uncle, and the uncle is known as mjomba. Mjomba. If someone says ujambo mjomba, that will mean hello uncle, hello uncle. And if someone says habari yako mjomba, that would be how are you, uncle. And for the aunt, we normally would say shangazi. We do say shangazi, shangazi. If I'm talking about my aunt, I would say shangazi yangu, shangazi yangu. We already figured out earlier that yangu simply means mine. If you're talking about the aunt, the uncle mjomba, you would say mjomba wangu, which is my uncle, my uncle. And we also do have the cousin. If you're referring maybe to your cousin, maybe you met up on your way to work and you met up with your cousin or something, you would really say binamu. Binamu is Binamu, binamu. And we also do have the grandmother. We call the grandmother nyanya. And if it's a grandfather, we say babu, Babu, babu. And you can say babu yangu would be my grandfather. You can also say nyanya yangu would be my grandmother. And if you're thinking about the nephew, your nephew, your brother's a kid, your brother's son, or maybe your niece, your brother's daughter, or your sister's daughter, or your sister's son, that would be nephew and niece. They do have the same word. We do not have two words for nephew and niece. In Swahili is normally just the same. In Swahili, it doesn't change. It's normally just the same. And that is why we do say mpo, MPWA, MPWA. And mpo, of course, shows that Swahili is not gender specific a lot. It's not really gender specific, If you're talking about the nephew, it's the same as the niece. And I don't know for what reason we don't have a different name for niece. And there is also words that generalize. For example, kijana. Kijana means youth. Kijana is a general word, and kijana simply means in Swahili youth. And if you are a young man or you are a young woman, and if someone says habari yako kijana, kijana is for you, the young person. You would actually say habari yako kijana, which is a really something of you'd actually say it. And if you're talking about a lady, a girl, msichana. A girl, we normally do it say msichana, msichana. If someone says kuja hapa msichana, kuja hapa msichana, is just come here, a young girl, come here, young girl. And if you're talking about mvulana, the boy who is also young, they are both vijana because they are young. But in terms of being more specific, and you're talking about a girl, you say msichana. But if you're talking about a boy, you normally would say mvulana, mvulana. If someone's pointed somewhere and said mvulana yule, that would mean that boy, that boy. If someone pointed somewhere and said msichana yule, that would be that girl, that girl. And of course, we also do have other words like the in-law. When you think about your in-law, you normally would call them mkwe. It doesn't matter whether it's the mother-in-law or the father-in-law. It's just mkwe. And we have other things like we have other names like rafiki. Rafiki simply means friend, and enemy would be adui. The enemy would really be adui. In case you talking about you're having a conversation and you're referring to an enemy or a friend would be rafiki, and that is how you simply say it. Remember, there are so many other different tools of getting to learn Swahili. And like you said, Swahili cannot be learned alone. I always keep on repeating that you cannot learn Swahili all by yourself. You need people to learn the Swahili language with. You might learn it with your friends, your colleagues. You might learn it also with your relatives. Some of your relatives would be very, very interesting to be able to have also relatives that are also interested in this beautiful new language. You have to try some words on them and also get to see whether they do get to understand them. The problem is sometimes you might not get a spelling, and if you're not getting the spelling right, then perhaps you might be not even a spelling, but even the pronunciation, maybe the spelling and the pronunciation. But that should not actually deter you from continuing in your pursuit of learning this wonderful language. We do have the Duolingo app in case you ever want to try that particular one out. You can be able to see the translations of different names on the Duolingo app. We also do have the Lonely Planet, so the first book that is mostly for tourists, not going around. But I think when we are done with this particular class, you will not even be needing that particular book because you shall have already exhausted most of what has been covered with the Lonely Planet Swahili first book. And also, we do have a guidebook that I have put together. These are a collection of the notes that we do use right here on the Blackboard File Network to conduct our class for Swahili. In case you would like to get this particular one, it's very, very easy for you to do so. I will send you a link. You can get the notes really and support the Swahili classes just for $8 as well if you would like to get that particular one. But nonetheless, like I said, we also do have an archives of Swahili classes on our Spreaker. If you go to Spreaker.com, search for Black Saturday Swahili class on Blackboard File Network, you will find the archives of not less, I believe, than maybe perhaps not less than 40 or 50 classes, I believe. Yeah, not less than 40 or 50 classes that you can be able to interact with and continue learning your Swahili, which would be very, very much important because you're getting the words. And I know the videos are more are better. I understand the videos are better because you can be able to ask your questions as we go about. But nonetheless, those particular archives of our classes are still there, and you can also be able to pull them out and see what you can learn from that. If in case you do have a question up to this particular point before we take a break, you can ask the question in case you would like to ask a question on some of the members of the family and how you refer to them, or maybe how you greet them, or maybe how after you greet them they should respond. You should, if you are a member and you have been greeted like Jambo Kaka, how do you respond? You respond and say Jambo. If it's a lady who has greeted you, it says Jambo Dada, Jambo Dada. If it's a brother who has greeted you, it will say Jambo Kaka. And if someone says Habari Yako Dada, which is how are you sister, you would respond and say Jambo. If it's a lady that has greeted you, you would actually say Jambo Dada. If it's a man who has greeted you, or you would say Jambo Salama, Salama Kaka, or Salama Ndugu. Salama means well. That is how you would respond to that particular one. We shall take a short break. When we get back, we shall be learning a little bit more of our Swahili right here on the Black Hot Fire Network Saturday Swahili classes. And thanks to all the child that joined us so far. I understand that normally the weekends are very, very busy, but you have taken the time to join us of your busy schedule, just join us in class, and we shall resume shortly after this short break.
Jambo, Johnny, ninakupenda, ninakupenda. Ayo, ay, ay, ayo, ay, ay, ayo, ay, ayo. Jambo, jambo. Sulama, umani sulama, umani sulama, ayo, familia, umani sulama, umani sulama.
That is some of the little bit of some Swahili music right there. Vumilia simply means be persistent. No persistence really, but vumilia just take what can I call it? Vumilia. I'm looking for that particular word of how you translate vumilia. Vumilia is really, hold on, hold in there. That is what it means. Hold in there, hold in there. It means just hold in there, and things will actually get okay. Nonetheless, this is another beautiful Saturday, and we get to learn a little bit of some Swahili. Apart from the names of the members of the family and how you get to address them, it's also important to be able, like we said last week, to be able to introduce yourself to anyone. And the way to do so is really to say jina langu ni or ninaitwa. You would actually say jina langu ni, 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 and then you continue, which is my name is, then you continue. Or you can say ninaitwa, which is I'm called or I'm known as, and then you continue. Naitwa Spikes, or you can say jina langu ni Spikes, and that is how you would simply get to say and introduce yourself to anyone, because maybe perhaps you're meeting them for the first time. And we have said the way to actually address someone is just by getting to know first and foremost how you address them. Like you said, for a mother or an older woman in the society, you just actually just address her as mama. For a grandfather who is really walking around and maybe with their walking stick, you'd really just address them as Babu, because Babu is grandfather. For someone who is a lady, you would actually call them Dada, because that means sister. For a brother, you'd actually say Ndugu, or you would also say Kaka, and that is how you actually get to address them. Therefore, you would actually say Hujambo Kaka, which is hello brother, and then you would say, you introduce yourself, jina langu ni Spikes. If you're talking to a brother, you'd actually say jina langu ni Spikes. But if you met a group of people, you would not really tell them hujambo, because hujambo is for one individual. If you met a group of people, you would actually just say hamjambo, H-A-M. Instead of H-U-M, you would say hamjambo, H-A-M, hamjambo in Swahili. And that is a group greeting, and they would respond and say hatujambo. If, for example, in maybe in school, a teacher just came in, and she maybe was teaching. She's a mathematics teacher, and as she came in, she would actually say hamjambo wanafunzi. Wanafunzi simply means students. It means students, and therefore, if she came into the class, maybe at around 9 a.m. in the morning, and she said hamjambo wanafunzi, you would actually respond and say hatujambo, and that is the way you respond as a group. But if you're responding as one individual, you would really just say sijambo, Sijambo, Sajambo. I almost got that particular one confused. And of course, like you said earlier, if you're talking about a friend, you might be an acquaintance, or you might be an actual friend. You would actually just tell them hujambo rafiki, hujambo rafiki. Jina langu ni Spikes, which is hello friend. My name is Spikes. My name is Spikes. And of course, those are some of the names of the people you will actually just get to interact with, maybe on a family basis. And outside that, you also do have other members. You also do have other individuals, other members that you might interact with in the community. Now let's extend our go a little bit outside. Go into the community. If you go into the community, I'm just using my notes as I continue expanding that. If you go into the community, maybe perhaps you are outside, perhaps you are actually trying to buy something, and you want to buy it from the seller, the seller in Swahili is known as a muuzaji is a seller. And for you the buyer, if you're buying some oranges or some fruits, for you the buyer, you are known as mnunuzi. Mnunuzi. That would be mnunuzi. If you're talking about a businessman or a businesswoman, a businessman or woman, you would actually call them mwana biashara, mwana biashara. These are for other individuals that you will actually meet up. Yeah, biashara, mwana biashara. Yes, this is how you actually put it, mwana biashara. If you're talking about maybe someone else who is like a farmer, in Swahili, you would actually say mkulima. For a doctor, I will be daktari. For doctor. These are other people that you might get to engage with, maybe as you going about your. This is daktari. And if you're talking about the driver, maybe you're moving from point 1 to point B, the driver, you normally will call them dereva. So if you say hello to a driver, you'd say habari yako dereva. Habari yako dereva. That would be how are you driver. You also say, you just get their attention, and they would know that it's them that you are communicating to. If you are also talking about maybe the police, we call them askari. We call them askari. Or we can also call them polisi. If you forget askari, you can also call them polisi. And of course, if you are, are also, interacting with other different kinds of people. For example, maybe you're interacting with a teacher. We said earlier, a teacher. I will be mwalimu. And therefore, it's very important that you also get the context of the greetings. In regard to you also get these particular words right in the context of the greetings. If you're saying hello to these particular individuals, or if you're referring to these particular people who are also other community members apart from the family itself, because you already learned about the family, and we said that the father, the brother, the sister, everyone else in the family, you have already talked about them. But how about individuals that you will meet about, as you're going about your daily business? It's also very, very important. You say you have muuzaji, mnunuzi, and we can also have other people that you might not be ready to meet. For example, the thief. You to meet up with a thief, and or maybe something has been stolen, and you're describing, you'd actually just say muizi. Muizi is really how you describe a thief. You describe a thief being a muizi. And those are some of the individuals perhaps that you might also pop up in your conversation when you're trying to describe maybe your day, or someone that you might perhaps have come about, or maybe when you're trying also to say hello to them, you can use those particular words. And like you said, apart from getting to you do your own greetings in Swahili, it's also important to be able to demonstrate, or to be able to get across your message in terms of what you would like. The greetings are good, but the greetings are not good if you are not able to really to go further and describe or say what you want. You might have wanted to buy something from the shop, and therefore, if you wanted to do so, you would actually say ninataka. Ninataka, I've repeated so many times, ninataka, ninataka. If you say ninataka, it sounds like nina and taka. It's ninataka. Ninataka. Ninataka simply means I want. And it almost sounds like Nina and Taka. It almost sounds like Nina plus Taka. It sounds like Nina plus Taka. But you might say ninataka maji. You have to also express yourself. You might say hello to someone, but you have to say now what do you want. You have to say hello to them. It's not just about a small chatter. You want to ask for something. You might say ninataka maji. Maji. Maji is water, and therefore you will actually say hujambo dada. Hujambo dada, ninataka kununua maji. You can say nunua is buy. Nunua most of the time is nunua. Nunua is a buy. Ninataka kununua maji. All nipe, tafadhali nipe maji. Nipe is give me. You can also request in that particular way. Give me. And therefore, if you say nipe maji, it's understood to be give me water. It's understood to be give me water. Nipe maji would actually give me water. So therefore, up to that particular point, you have actually just introduced the members of the family or the people you would actually interact on a day-to-day basis. And these are the individuals maybe in your family or maybe even outside the family. And we have also learned how to say hello to them. You can say hujambo mama, or hujambo dada, or hujambo kaka. And you can continue also saying ningependa or ninataka. You can say ninataka maji or ningependa. Maji simply means water. And you also do have pesa, because at the end of the day, most conversations are also about money. And therefore, if someone says ninataka pesa, it means they want money. Ninataka pesa, ninataka pesa is I want money. I want money. But you can also say, if someone says ninataka pesa, you can also respond and say sina. Sina is I don't have. Sina, S-I-N-A would be I don't have. So if someone says sina pesa, it means they don't have money. Sina pesa means I don't have money. I don't have money. I don't have money. If someone says sina chakula, chakula, we have already learned that chakula simply means food. General Mosquito, thank you so much. I saw you earlier. You're saying a mambo jambo. It's not a mambo jambo, it's jambo. Jambo. You're saying it's a jambo. Yeah, it's hujambo. It's H plus. Please add a HU. Please add a HU so that it becomes hujambo. And hujambo is hello. Please do add a HU at the start, because that is the most official. But you can also say jambo to someone. It's not really official. It's just another greeting, jambo. And they will understand and know what you are saying. And of course, we also do have, like I was saying earlier, some things that you can also get to refer on a day-to-day basis. Money comes up in many conversations. If someone says inataka pesa, it means they want money. If someone says inataka chakula, it means they want. But if someone says sina is the S-I-N-A. Sina means I don't have. Or if someone says, if someone means they don't want, you might want or you might not want. Now, if you don't want, you normally you would actually say sitaki. Sitaki is I don't want. I don't want. That simply is sitaki. Sitaki simply means I don't want. If someone says sitaki chakula, sitaki chakula, it means I don't want food. Someone else says sitaki maji. If someone says sitaki maji, it means they don't want water. If someone says sitaki chai, that would be I don't want tea. I don't want tea. And we already know by now we do have a distinction between tea and coffee. Tea is a chai, and coffee is kahawa. Kahawa, Kahawa, kahawa. Sitaki kahawa. You can say I don't want coffee. Sitaki kahawa. Sitaki chakula. Sitaki matunda. You can say sitaki matunda because matunda simply means a fruit. Matunda simply means fruits, and therefore you said sitaki matunda. Then it's understood that the guest does not need to have fruits, or whomever it says they do not want. They actually mean that they are not interested in whatever that you are actually offering. And if someone asks you a question which has a yes or no response, the yes normally is ndio, and the no is normally hapana. Hapana is really for no. Hapana is really for no. And that way you are able also to respond to yes or no questions in a very, very simple way. If someone says j, if someone says the questions normally in Swahili do start with a je. Je utakunywa chai? Je utakunywa chai? Je utakunywa chai simply is will you have some tea? Je utakunywa chai? Je utakunywa? Kunywa we already figured that translated kunywa is drink. Kunywa chai. If someone says je utakunywa chai and your answer is no, I will not have tea, you simply say hapana or hapana. Hapana sitaki. Hapana asanti. You can say no thanks. Asanti, we have already also used that particular word so many times. Asanti. Therefore, that would be thanks. You say no thanks. Say hapana asanti. That would be just polite, no thanks. Hapana asanti. That would be really no thanks, I'm good. No thanks, I'm good. If you want to say niko sawa, I'm good. You will just say niko sawa. Niko sawa. Sawa simply means okay. So if you say I'm okay, if someone offered you some tea and you're not feeling like having tea, you can simply say niko sawa. Asante, niko sawa. You can say thanks, I'm good. You can say asante, niko sawa, and they would, of course, understand what you are telling them in regards to, you declining their offer, but you're declining it in a good way, because I believe in some places where you go to in the African cultures, you do find people being very, very generous, offering you some food. If someone says, je, utakula chakula? Someone says, je, utakula chakula? They simply are asking, will you have some food? Would you like to have some food? And you might say, ndio. Ndio simply means ndio. Ndio simply means yes, and hapana means no. Someone says, je, utakula chakula kidogo? So you can say, ndio, asanti, utakula chakula kidogo. Kula simply means Kula, simply means eat. Therefore, eat chakula, kula chakula simply means that to eat some food, You can say, nipe chakula kidogo, nipe chakula, nipe is give me, nipe chakula kidogo. Kidogo is an adjective really meaning small or little. That will give me literal food. Give me a literal food. Nipe chakula kidogo. Nipe chakula kidogo. Thank you so much to everyone that has joined us in this particular class. I just want to thank you for taking the time and showing your interest. Swahili is not really difficult, but you have to be consistent. And practice makes perfect. I almost say perfect makes practice, but practice makes perfect. You need to be able to put down some notes and also try to internalize this particular lesson. Also have a comprehension of the words. You can also use Duolingo app, or also go to different you can also check out some of these classes on Spreaker.com. Just search for Swahili Saturday Swahili class on Black Hot Fire Network, and the classes will actually just pop up, and you will see and listen back. All of them, I believe, some of them are easy to download. You can download some of the classes. You might not be able to download all of them, but nonetheless, you are able to download a few, which will help you at least have the basic understanding of the language and the appreciation, because you cannot really learn something better if you not first and foremost appreciate it. You have to have an appreciation of the language and also the people that speak the language, and then from there it will be much more easier for you to be able to learn. Nonetheless, I want to move a little bit into something fast forward, which is the body parts. If you're talking about your head, we normally would say kichwa, Kichwa, kichwa. If you're talking about kichwa. If you're talking about the eye, we normally would say jicho. In the eye, we would say jicho. This is Jicho, jicho. If you're talking about the nose, we would say pua, Pua, not Por, double or, it's Pua. If you're talking about the mouth, mdomo, you say mdomo, or you can also say kinywa. You can also use the word kinywa, kinywa, kinywa to refer to mouth, kinywa, kinywa to refer to the mouth. If you're talking about the ears, the ear, if you're talking about one, it's known as kio. If it's both of them, you say masikio. If you're talking about the neck is really shingo. If you're talking about the neck is really shingo. If you're talking about the teeth, you say meno for the teeth. For the chest, you would say kifua, Kifum. For the thigh, you would say paja. For your stomach, you would say tumbo. For the stomach, you would say tumbo. And for maybe you would actually also use what do you call this? Goti, Goti, Goti. Goti simply means the knee. Goti simply means the knee. For the heart, you say roho or moyo. For the heart, you would say roho or moyo for the heart. And for the hip, you would say kiuno. Someone says zungusha kiuno will be shake your waist. If someone says mguu simply means the foot, the leg. The leg simply means foot or the leg, which is how you translate that particular one. To that particular extent, I would just like to ask if anyone has a question. It means that either we are understanding or either we are not understanding, maybe. So if anyone has a question to that particular extent, kindly ask your question, and I will be glad to respond. And we can be able to proceed from there. Does anyone have a question? I always keep on saying that a question is swali. Someone says, if I say uliza swali is ask a question. Ask a question, uliza swali. But if you're talking about the plural of the question, you would say questions. So therefore that becomes maswali. That would be for questions. And if someone, of course, I want the answer. If someone wants the answer, you can say, I want an answer. That would be ninataka jibu, Jibu. Jibu is the answer. So you say ninataka jibu. And it's really not that difficult. Ninataka jibu, I want an answer. Ninataka jibu. And now, of course, if maybe perhaps you haven't understood, you can say sijaelewa, which is I did not understand. I did not understand. Sijaelewa. You'd actually say that particular way, sijaelewa. But if you have understood it, you would say nimeelewa. Elewa simply means understand. So I have understood. I have understood. You would say nimeelewa. You would say nimeelewa kaka, will mean I have understood it, brother. Or you say nimeelewa mwalimu means I have understood it, teacher. And if you have not, you can also simply say it. But nonetheless, I do believe today's class has been a bit quiet. I don't know if the family still is with us. But nonetheless, we are winding up. I believe we shall wind it up here. And I want to remind us that we do have the Black Watch Fan Talk Tanzania tour, which is coming up next month. You know, we were last month, we were saying next month, but right now it's going down on next month from the 12th. And time is running out. If you really would like to join us for that particular tour and you haven't, then I think our time is almost running out for you, because you do have just about a month to be able to organize everything and just get to tour Tanzania. You know, it shall be from the 12th. We shall be in Dar es Salaam. We shall also make our way to Zanzibar a week later, and it shall be a delightful experience. You should not miss out on that particular one. But nonetheless, I want to thank everyone that has been with us and supporting the Black Watch Fan Network. Our other channel was taken down, and therefore we shall not be able to be streamed back on that particular one because it's nowhere to be found. It was just deleted from the platform. But nonetheless, I would just like to remind us to subscribe to this particular channel if you haven't, and maybe it's your first time you are on the show. Kindly subscribe. You can also help us share. Maybe perhaps if you're in contact with someone who still is part of the Black Far family and doesn't know where to find us, please also let them know that we are on this channel, which is Cape News on the smaller channel. We are also on the Black Fire Africa channel. And these two of them, it's a good thing that you can be able also to share with your friends and also subscribe to both of them because, you never know what happens next. And I want to thank everyone. I would like to say Asante Sana to everyone that did join us in class. It has been a delight. And like I said, if you do have a question you'd like to send me, simply email me blackfireafrica@gmail.com, and I will be delighted to respond to your question. It has to do with the class or it has to do with any other matters. Feel free to be able to do so. And remember also to catch us tomorrow, same time on the Black Fire Network, which is at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I think all now we started late. We started late today, so that's about 2 p.m. Eastern time. Please make sure to join us tomorrow. And also, thank you so much for your support. Till next time, much peace and love. I will say Kwaheri, which means goodbye.
Umanye solama.